everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that you're doing well. Thank you for coming back to our Wednesday class. I hope you're enjoying our classes. I'm enjoying being able to still communicate with you and do some stuff with you on Wednesdays like we would normally be doing. This week we are going to talk about a Bible verse that we have done before, but it makes a whole lot of sense. So let's jump into our verse, and then we'll talk about why Miss Eden chose it. Alright, so this is Psalm 107:29. He made the storm be still, and the waves of the sea were hushed. Now, this is the point where I would go. Now, does anyone know why Miss Eden would have chosen this verse this week? And you'd all raise your hand. You go, "Ooh, I know, I know, I know." And everybody have their hands up and wait for me to call on whoever I'd call on. That's right. Because we had a tornado over the weekend. That's just crazy. I hope that all of your homes are well and safe, that nobody had too much damage done to their homes. Now, we didn't have any damage at our house. But I know Mr. Sam had some damage at his house, and maybe some other people in the church may have had a little bit of damage. There are some people whose homes were damaged so much that it's caused a lot of problems. There were people without power for several days. We can be very thankful that no one was hurt too badly, so that's a wonderful thing. So we're going to talk about how he made the storm be still, and the waves of the sea were hushed. Now, in the book of Psalms, who wrote Psalms? Anybody? Anybody know? Raise your hand. I know, Miss Eve. It was David. That's right. And we've talked about Psalms quite a bit. And how David is writing prayers and songs to talk about God. And so this is no different. He's talking about how God can calm the storms and make things better, right? So let's talk about storms. Now, there are different kinds of storms. There are tornadoes, like we had this past weekend, which was a little bit scary. Now, at our house, all we had wind, and we had not real super strong, but stronger than normal. And we had hail, which are the pieces of ice that fall from the sky, and we had rain. Now, we didn't have any damage done to anything. But the wind was strong enough to where we got an alert that said that we needed to be careful and watching what was happening with the weather. So we had the girls come downstairs and just hang out downstairs for a little while until the storm had passed, right? Until the storm was calm. Now, some other kinds of storms, let's see. So hurricanes. That would be a storm that would be big and scary. So hurricanes usually have to do with water. There's lots of water involved in hurricanes. It's usually near the ocean that we see a lot of hurricanes. And there's lots of damage that's done there by water that gets brought into cities that shouldn't be there, right? Or flooding that will happen from a hurricane. Another kind of storm would be a thunderstorm. Now, our dog Ellie, if you watch on Sundays, you have seen Ellie running around behind me in the playhouse or around me in the playhouse. Ellie does not like thunderstorms because there's lots of loud noises and she doesn't like that. Now, Ellie lives outside all the time, so she has a building that she goes into and she'll cuddle in the corner and hide and wait for the thunder to stop. But if we go outside to check on her, she tries to come in the house because she doesn't like it. Because the noise is scary, but it always stops and it always goes away. Now, in the book of Psalms, in this verse, David is not talking about weather kinds of storms, is he? Not necessarily. I think that he's more talking about different kinds of storms that can affect our lives. Let's think about different things that could be considered storms. What's something that can get out of control that we think we have no way of stopping? So everybody has a brother and sister. I have two brothers. And when we were in kids, this was a problem for us. Now, I have 2 girls, so I know you know that my children never have a problem with this. Right. Everybody has problems with their brother or their sister, right? Sometimes it gets a little out of control and we lose our temper. Maybe we say some unkind things. That's a storm. When things get out of control and we get in an argument with our brother or our sister, that can be a storm. But when we stop and we realize maybe some of the things that we've said, and God convicts us, where God, helps you to remember that maybe I shouldn't say unkind things, or maybe you went a little too far, maybe threw something. Not that that ever happens in our house. Or maybe you put your hands on somebody else that you shouldn't have, maybe hit them or pushed them. That can be a storm, right? But what happens is that God reminds you, maybe through mom and dad, or on your own, that that wasn't right. That's God calming the storm. That's God saying to you, hey, you gotta fix this. You gotta calm down and realize the right choice. In our house, we use the phrase, make it right. Regardless of how upset you are, regardless of how worked up things can be, you have to make it right. And that's calming the storm, right? And sometimes God will work through you to help the other person learn to calm down, right? So there's other storms. Let's think of another storm. Sickness could be like a storm, right? Maybe if you've ever had the flu before. Mary Kate had the flu this year, and that felt like a storm because it was all the time sick, all the uncomfortable grossness of just sick all the time. That's like a storm, right? But it doesn't last forever. There is the beautiful gift of medicine that God has helped people to understand and use properly, and that helps calm that storm of sickness where you think there's no way out, but there is. There's a lot of things that could be thought of as storms in our lives. Maybe what we're dealing with right now, that's like a storm. I know we talked about it like a race last week, and it's hard not to think about this is all these different things that were hard. But God will calm the storm. He will help make it right. So we've got real storms. You can think about the ocean and how the ocean gets calm and nice and quiet. If you've ever seen the ocean in the morning when it's nice weather and it's all soft and smooth as the ocean gets, and calm, that is something you can think about. You can think about maybe getting in a fight with your sibling and then making it right. There's lots of other things. We can think about thunderstorms, and we can think about hail or tornadoes or things like that. But you have to remember that God will always calm that storm. It does not last forever. It is not something that we have to live with forever. You can always make it right. God will always make it right, and He will keep you safe. I hope that you all continue to do well this week and stick with your schoolwork and get through it all. And send me some pictures if you make them. If you would like to, you can draw me a picture of a tornado. That would be really cool. I would love that. Or you can draw me a picture of whatever else you think of. If you